Reduced food, otherwise known as yellow label food. Almost every UK supermarket sells off food that's about to go past its shelf life for a reduced price. Sometimes they are absolute bargains. Other times, not so much. For the next 72 hours, I am only eating reduced food. Are the savings worth it, or is yellow label hype really just that? Hype. This is something you guys have been asking me for so long, so let's get into it. I went on my merry way deciding that I'd start at Tesco, and I'm here the night before I actually start this challenge. So it's 6:10. Apparently this is the best time for yellow label reduced food. Which reminds me, let's go over the rules of these 72 hours. Number 1, I can only have food or drink that has been reduced, except water. And number 2, I can go to any supermarket that I want. Those are pretty much the only rules, and it's harder than you think in the drinks department because not many drinks actually end up getting reduced. So I set off down the aisles in Tesco, heading straight to the reduced fruit and veg to see what I could get my hands on there. Wasn't loads of interesting things, except these plums and these roasting vegetables. Greatest breakfast discovery ever. Sweet pancakes! Look at that. It's got a hole in it. Yeah, I didn't buy this cake. I'm actually very regretful that I didn't. But then, was I really going to eat an entire cake in 72 hours? I then found this lovely looking loaf of bread before moving on to the fridge and picking up this Rustler's. I grabbed some Singapore noodles and this bottle of milk. This is a good find, so I can actually have some coffee. Of course, that would only be relevant if I managed to find some reduced coffee. Spoiler alert, I didn't. I feel like I realise I've been a little bit of an idiot coming the day before we're actually starting this challenge. A lot of the use by on these reduced goods is today. And I know what you guys are going to say, so many of you. Oh, use by doesn't mean anything, blah, blah, blah. I don't trust it with meat. I'll trust it with other things, but I don't trust it with meat. I am not buying a use by me that is used by today. So, yeah, whatever. I'm not doing that. Now there were some extra bits in the shop for Carolina, so I don't think I spent the full amount here. But what we're looking at is the savings. And saving £16.08 is pretty good going, I think. We got a haul there! I brought it inside to get organised and went to bed, ready to start the challenge the next morning. Morning came and it was time for those sweet pancakes. I just realised that whilst I bought milk, I couldn't get any coffee. There was no reduced coffee. I can't have a coffee. That sucks. I decided to cut up some plum and wrap them in the pancakes. You gotta start a little bit healthy, you know? Continue as you mean to go on. And I tucked in. These, yeah, they weren't great. I thought the pancakes would be nicer, but they crumbled very easily. The plum inside was nice, but it just didn't land very well as a breakfast. Water. This is water. As Riley and I went on our daily 5k walk, all I could think about was the Rustlers that waited for me for lunch. I wasn't sure how I felt about the Rustlers. It had been such a long time since I had one, and there was a bit of a feeling of dread. Back at uni, I had Rustlers, or the little equivalent of it, multiple times a week. Let's just say I didn't like it really, but I was just very, very lazy, and it was a time where I probably looked my worst. Mainly through living from them, frozen pizzas, and a lot of takeaway pizza as well. Those were the days. Although, were they? Surprisingly, this isn't that bad. Okay, so it wasn't as bad as I remembered. Maybe because this one wasn't actually meat. I think it's the meat with Rustlers that's a little bit squiffy, you know? Although from the look on my face, I'm not particularly excited about eating this. It didn't quite fill me up either, so I had this chip shop curry pot too. This also wasn't great. The curry sauce kind of tasted of nothing and the rice was a weird texture. I wouldn't buy it again. But you know, I think that's what's good about this challenge. Finding things that are reduced that you wouldn't otherwise try, so you buy them to try them. So it's expanding my horizons just a little bit, which is kind of cool. If you're watching this, you clearly love the budget challenge, which means you probably love budgeting as well. Did you know there's plenty of magazines out there that can really help when it comes to budgeting and creating great meals for a very little money? Well, that's where this week's sponsor, Readly, comes in. I've spoken about Readly many times before. They're kind of like a streaming service, but for magazines. They've got so much on there, from travel to lifestyle to gaming magazines, but my favourite, apart from the gaming, are the food magazines. I'm always looking through the different food magazines, trying to find some fantastic recipes that I would never normally make. For example, there's the midweek meal section in Good Food magazine, which comes with its own shopping list for everything you need to buy for the week to create a bunch of really tasty meals. It also tells you the cost per portion, which is so useful for keeping those costs down for you. Heck, you might even find something in the reduced section if you're lucky. As summer comes up, you might want to check the travel section as well and read through some of those fantastic travel magazines to find some sun, but for cheap. What's more is you can search for specific keywords in order to take yourself directly to an article within a magazine that contains that keyword. Really useful if you're looking for things like budgeting tips, or meals involving chicken or lamb or pork or vegetarian. My QR code is on screen now, where you can download Readly for free and try it out for 2 months. But honestly, don't just take my word for it, try it out for yourselves. I was also having to navigate this challenge around moving and getting ready to move, which wasn't particularly that easy. There's boxes here, boxes here, shelves are empty, walls are bare. This moving stuff is a bit painful. I had to take a trip to the dump to get rid of a load of stuff to help facilitate this move before coming home to my Singapore noodles. And yes, this is the last video you'll see in the old house. Those of you who watch regularly will know that I have moved already. Last couple of videos are in the new house. I'm filming this right here in the new house. Filming space, so much better. Kind of nostalgic looking back at this house already, and it's only been a few weeks. I'm incredibly upset right now. I thought I bought like these little chicken pop things that were like 50p. I was going to put them on these Singapore noodles. I forgot to buy them, apparently. I've just checked the receipt and I definitely didn't buy them. So I'm a bit upset by that. Okay, so chicken pops or not, this looks banging. So I settled into my Singapore noodles, and you know what? It was actually really good. I'm not one for ready meals usually, and this one really surprised me as to how delicious it actually was. Technically it's out of date, but I'm sure I'll be fine. And with that, I was 1 day down. With all the food I bought, I then worked out I had saved £16.08 from what was actually a £39.46 shop. Meaning so far I had spent £23.38 and still had plenty of food left over. Morning came and I decided to have the cheese loaf I bought for breakfast. I forgot when starting to make it though that I didn't actually buy anything to put on it, so yes, I just had plain toast. It's dry, but I gotta do it. I decided to then try my luck with another supermarket. Sunny day today. Sunny, but still need a coat. Good old M&S. I headed in to see what awaited me, and I found another cake. A bit more expensive, but I wasn't going to pass up on cake again. You best believe I'm getting cake. No reduced sandwiches. We have just learnt, typically, and I mean I should have known this already, is that M&S reductions way worse than Tesco. So I decided to try my luck at Morrison's. There's got to be something here, right? I'm starving. And I must say, things were starting to look pretty dire. Still no luck. Gotta find something. I'm starving. I found some more reduced sweet things, but ultimately came up short in Morrison's. But at least I did manage to find something for lunch. So it's come to this. I decided to clear my head and ponder what to do next on my walk with Riley. Ow. Now I'd love to go for a run with her, but let me show you kinda why I can't. Yeah, it just wouldn't work. Where is she? Ah, there she is. I continued on and took a moment to appreciate the walk that had served me so well the last few years. I'd come here almost every day and was feeling a little bit melancholy. It would be sad, but you know, I've been here at the new house for the last 3 weeks and it's surprising how little I've thought about my old house. It's only watching these clips back where I start to, you know, feel a bit nostalgic and sad about it. That said, loving where I am now. Love this setup right here. It's really cool. I'm just loving the new house and the walks already. Honestly, it's a vibe here. It's time for dinner. Not gonna lie, don't really know what I bought. I turned to this masala marinated chicken that I got from M&S and decided to have that with the veg I got from Tesco the day before. After struggling to open them, I got everything cooked and served up as what looked like a rather good looking dinner. So good that even Carolina wanted to join. and she rarely joins me on these challenges. It was as tasty as it looked, and I was beginning to think that this challenge wasn't really a challenge at all. Let's be real, this video could have just been called Man Eats Food for 72 Hours. But I suppose it's cool to see the savings that are made, right? Speaking of which, after this day of meals, we spent a further £15.25, saving an extra £5.63, bringing our total save to £21.21, whilst our total spend was £38.63. That night, Caroline and I decided to watch Moana 2. I'm sorry, how long have there been ads on Disney+? I'm a big fan of the first one, so I hoped this one would live up to expectations. And I of course ate some more cake whilst watching. Here's my thoughts on Moana 2. Also, here's my thoughts on this metric. 60% of you aren't subscribed. That's wilder than any plot twist in Moana 2. Hit that button. Go on. After playing with Cleo for a bit, I went to bed getting ready for my final day of reduced food. The following morning was a sorry breakfast of more pancakes that at this point were well past their last legs. I snacked on some plums as well before heading for my very last trip of the challenge. Back to Tesco, where I had the most luck the first time. Let's try this again. When I got there, the first food I found gave me an idea as to what I wanted to have for dinner. So it was just a case of seeing if I could find the other ingredients that would also help me make this dinner that I wanted. The bread section, however, had a whole stack of things about to go out, but no one was marking them up, so sadly I had to leave this. That was the one missing piece to dinner. But it's fine, I think we've got enough. So for dinner, I got some burger slaw, big block of cheese, coastal bite cheddar, some beef dripping triple cooked chips, which not the best deal in the world, only 96p off. And not real burgers, but some this isn't beef burgers. You can see where we're going with this. I'm gonna have burger and chips. I thought this would be better. It's not the best price, so. But I am ravenous. It's the kind of thing I was looking for yesterday, but I just couldn't get it. Getting home, I had some more cake and a cuddle from the dog whilst I finished work for the day, and it was time for dinner and going out with a bang. I put on my chips, cut my cheese, sliced my bread, cooked my burgers, and I built my burger. It looked like a pretty epic meal to go out on this on, all of this possible for a very little money. It was great. Big yes. Hearty yes. Too much food? Yes. The chips were very good. I'd get these again probably, but the burger? The burger was mid. Hard to know when a plant-based burger is cooked, and it tasted slightly funky. The animals came to check on me whilst eating, and then I finished up. And then it was time to see what I learned throughout the last few days. Firstly, my final shop was £19.35 with savings of £4.28, making my total spend £15.07. This means our final totals were £53.07 spent, with savings of £25.49. Somehow, without those savings, all that food would have cost me £78.56. That's more than my weekly food shop for 2 people. So yes, reduced food is worth it, but it's also taught me that the state of the world right now is pretty f***ed up. And if you don't want to spend a stupid amount on food, buy more fresh ingredients, cook more for yourself, and you're probably going to end up saving a lot of money. But look, I ate cake for lunch, I had noodles for dinner, and I got cuddles from the dog. Not bad, really.